President Trump, for 2 years with Bob Lighthizer and Peter Navarro and the vice chairman of the Chinese Communist Party, Li He, negotiate a fundamental deal to integrate them into a ordered global economic system, of which they spit in President Trump's face. And then shortly thereafter, you had the military games in Wuhan, just a random place, the World Military Games, of which people started to get sick from, guess what? A virus coming from the Wuhan lab. That was about 100 days after they spit in our face and said, we will totally decouple and go it alone. Frank Gaffney, your assessment of where we are in this global conflict with the Chinese Communist Party.
Well, Steve, that chronology was, I think, very important. I would just add that in the years since 2019 and since the COVID biological warfare attack, and that is what it was. However, it got out of the lab. Once it was out, the Chinese deliberately sent it here to kill Americans, among others around the world. We've had other developments, of course, and some of the most important of them, I think, involve things that you've been covering relentlessly and properly so, including the war in Ukraine and the war in the Middle East, both of which I believe are examples of strategic arson by Xi Jinping, leading up to quite possibly other incidents of it. We've got the problem on the Korean Peninsula that you touched on earlier. We've got, of course, even in our own hemisphere, challenges, whether it's Panama, whether it's possibly Venezuela and Guyana. I mean, these are places where Xi has been lighting sparks, I think, to distract us, to tie us down, and most especially to expend our limited arsenal, our kit, to the point where when he decides to move, and whether it's directly at Taiwan or whether it's Taiwan and the Philippines or whether it's Taiwan and the Philippines and Japan, whether it's Guam, whether it's here in the United States, he is now positioned to engage in another kind of warfare, one that they've prepared for decades, a shooting war. And the piece of this that is so important, we talked about it on Saturday, Steve, is we have been financing the preparations for the war that will kill Americans, and not just servicemen and women, probably in the Western Pacific, but also very likely Americans here at home. One of the things that is exciting to me, Steve, in all of this, the heightened awareness that the president has brought to the, yes, war that is underway against us. He's been focused mostly on the predatory trade practices of China, but it's a symptom, as you said, a symptom of what I think is properly described not as World War III, but as World War Xi.